Welcome to the live set of six, the show where we share the good, the new, and the noteworthy rugby league outside the Heartlands. My name's Craig.
And my name's Carl. And on this week's episode, we're going to be talking high performance. We're going to be talking about the loss of the magic in the Challenge Cup. Craig, gotta get me words out. And we're also going to be talking about Quantumania. Yeah, Quantumania is really kicking off this season.
Okay, as always, welcome to our live show this week. We've got 6 really interesting news stories. And remember that anytime you can comment, you can join in the show. It's completely interactive. And the first person to comment always gets 10 Rugby League Outsiders points, which you can redeem absolutely nowhere on the interwebs. Okay, but we just do it for a little bit of fun. Carl, you got something to say there?
Is that getting old, that joke? Yeah, what?
Well, I'll keep saying it until people tell me to stop saying it. Yeah, we've got some really good stories. Now, like I said, you can comment, you can get involved in the discussion and all that kind of stuff. So the first thing I really want people to do is just let us know that you can hear us. A little bit of a problem with the sound at the start last week, and I just want to avoid that from happening this week. So let us know you can hear us and you can see us, and then we'll get into the stories. Carl, how's your week been?
Good, mate. I've noticed you had your hair cut as well.
Yeah, I have a little slid cut. Not much of a story about it, but I'm just trying to keep a little bit on the top to, keep the sunroof at bay.
Yeah, okay. So we get into this week's stories then, Craig.
Yeah.
So tackle one then is Quantumania, the team we all love, Staffordshire Quantums. I'll put this into a bit of perspective. For any of our southern listeners who may not know who Staffordshire Quantums are, Staffordshire Quantums, a brand new rugby league side that started last year. Their inaugural season was last year. Born out of Rugeley Rugby Club, and they're getting ready to go around for their second season. And Craig, they're going off with a bang this year. They're really hyping this one up. So yeah, their first fixture of the season against New Ravens. Apparently, they're going to have a pyrotechnics show on the start of the season.
Yeah, this is absolutely classic Staffordshire Quantums. This, you know what I mean? Just going like that little bit of an extra mile, and just trying to create something for people to kind of get involved with and enjoy on the day. So if I'm free, I'm there. It's 11th. What is it? 11th of May.
Yeah. So the first fixture is 11th of May, 2 p.m. kickoff against New Ravens, and they're going to have a DJ on, barbecues, a pyrotechnic show. And
yeah,
this is a bit of PR rumor, but apparently a former X Factor singer doing the halftime show.
Is that right?
That's what they said on their press release. When I say press release, I mean WhatsApp group, but it's the same thing.
So we've picked out a couple of Midlands-based X Factor contestants. Are they all winners? I don't know.
God knows. So I've pulled a few out who may or may not be performing at the Staffordshire Quantums.
Better make that clear.
Pre-game or halftime show. Alexandra Burke, I've got her in at 200 to 1. Nah, I'm not feeling that. Sam Bailey, who's from Leicestershire,
right?
Could be a bit too far. Don't know. Put her in at 50 to 1.
Yeah.
Cher Lloyd from Malvern.
Is she still going?
Disappeared,
didn't she?
Honestly, I ain't got a clue. I just searched out X Factor contestants from the Midlands. Cher Lloyd, 20 to 1.
Right. Okay.
And then I'm going Wagner.
Is this your choice, Wagner?
5 to 1, yeah. The Rugby League Outsider betting odds for Staffordshire Quantum's entertainment.
Right. Okay. What's the prize if you win? Like
10 Rugby League Outsiders points, obviously.
You can redeem absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I am interested to see what this pyrotechnic show is going to be, though. So I joked. I said, I can't wait to see what your fireworks are like. And he went, no, pyrotechnics. I was like, what's the difference?
Well, let me tell you, in the military, obviously, when you do your training and what have you, you have pyrotechnics to simulate like grenades and mortar bombs and all that kind of stuff. And although they can be very, very loud and what have you, it's not really much of a spectacle. You know what I mean? Like, didn't we have some kind of firework thing before where we was expecting the opening ceremonies of the Commonwealth Games?
Well, yeah.
What was that?
It was when
What was that?
there was a press release for the Midlands Nines, and it made it made all the National Rugby League papers, and the photograph that they put was the Alexander Stadium, the Commonwealth Games Stadium, at the Commonwealth Games with like a massive fireworks over the top of the stadium, which I can assure you we haven't quite got that budget.
Okay, brilliant. So moving on then. So from one set of superstars and an amazing kind of spectacle to one that's kind of fading a little bit, and that's the Challenge Cup.
Yeah, I thought we couldn't not talk about a lot of things actually with the Challenge Cup this week, Craig. Has it lost its magic? I watched it on BBC, and
well, when you eventually found it.
It was hidden. You had to go searching. There wasn't even a link to it until it went live 5 minutes before that. Look, I thought the BBC coverage was pretty poor, to be honest with you. It's great that it was on TV. Well, not on TV. It was on iPlayer on it, but it just the crowds were low. The fans didn't seem interested. I wasn't interested watching it. And Saints Leeds is a big game, isn't it? So
massive game.
I'm trying to work out why I didn't have that interest in it, and I don't know what you thought about it was.
Well, I don't know about the crowds. I don't know what happened there. I do know about the coverage though, and what it seems to me is like I thought Channel 4 did an exceptional job last year, and I'm confused.
Completely agree.
I'm confused as to why they're not doing it this year. They seem to have handed it over to the BBC. Now, the BBC, it's dying. You know what I mean? It's got everything wrong. And if you look at a lot of things now, which, it's not really, by law, you've got to pay your license fee, and that funds the BBC. It's full of fat cats taking massive wages, right? And it's freaking dying. and it fucking needs to die in some respects.
Yeah.
Right. And they've come in with some half-assed effort at Rugby League. They've clearly, pinned their freaking, whatever the phrase is, to the mast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They are not interested in Rugby League. You can see that. And bless it, Kevin Brown and Sharon, whatever her name was, I can't remember who it was, tried the best, but they were just terrible.
Well, there was, I think there was only 2 camera angles, so it looked budget.
It was 100% budget.
We could rock up with 2 cameras, and
we streamed the Midlands finals last year, and it was the same standard.
Yeah, well, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, so there was only 2 cameras. There was no video ref at the game, no big screen. You couldn't hear the referee on the mic, and these are all little things that.
Carl, it was worse than that. Like the tackle count on the screen was wrong, right? The clock, the commentator actually turned around at one point and said, "Do you remember the clock on the screen is just for a guide?" And you're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" The graphics that would, when the substitute was made, the graphics the wrong way around. The off-going player was green and the oncoming player was red. And it was just like,
I didn't even notice that.
And such is off now. And you're like, no, I can see him on the pitch. I can see him playing. He's playing the fucking ball, and it was just absolute chip shot, terrible.
It felt budget, didn't it? And all the little things we've grown to expect, they just weren't there. And then once you take them away, it just looks like a really half-assed production. And it reinforced how good the coverage is on Sky, actually, because it was miles away from it, absolutely miles away. Anyway, carrying on, not just the coverage, crowds, there are only 2 games hit a 5,000 crowd. And are we charging too much for the Challenge Cup? You don't get included with your season tickets, so everybody has to pay. Apparently, tickets were like 25 quid. Because it's a shared gate on Challenge Cup, half to the home, half to the away team. I don't know. Do you think they're charging too much for Challenge Cup games?
I think
clearly they are.
But no, I don't think they are. But I think what's wrong, like you can charge whatever you want. If someone turned up tonight with a Ferrari and said, "Carl, 25 grand, you can take this Ferrari off my hand," you would find that money. You'd be phoning round. You say, "Look, I just need to get 20," because you understand the value of a Ferrari. Okay.
Yeah.
We have lost the value of this cup. If it was a compelling offer to go and watch top rugby, in a top competition, people would pay it. They would pay it.
Yeah.
And and they haven't.
Do you know what I found as well? I was thinking about this on the way here. I was more invested in the Challenge Cup in the early rounds than I am now that the Super League teams have come in, because I wanted to see an upset. I wanted to see a southern team knock off a northern team, or like we did see happen. That's what I wanted to see from the Challenge Cup. And I'll go back to it again. Are the Super League teams coming in too late? Because it felt like just a really half-assed round of Super League, this did to me.
Yeah, it was weird. And a lot of the fixtures were similar to either fixtures we've just had or fixtures that we're getting next week. So you're like, well, it seems a bit odd. Chris Chatton, by the way, said it was Sharon Shortle that was doing the commentary. Bless it, she did a cracking, a good job. Much better job than I could have done, but it just wasn't on point. It was kind of wrong. I just wonder what other people are thinking. Is the Challenge Cup a bit of a dying competition? What are other people thinking about it? I've always loved the Challenge Cup, but yeah, something's missing now. And I think the problem is you're never going to get them giant killings anymore, are you? No.
Because the Super League teams are all professional, full-time teams. I mean, the Super League teams and Championship teams, they're a mile off now, aren't they? I can't remember the last time a Championship team beat a Super League team. I think it was Bradford at Odsal a couple of years ago.
But the thing is, you're only going to get that when there's something else is a massive factor. For example, the weather. You know what I mean? Like the weather's so bad that it just levels both teams, or just something like that. Interesting. Steve Canning has put. I think the Challenge Cup needs an overall and bringing Super League teams earlier. That's where the magic is. St Helens against a grassroots side. There's a couple of people saying that. I noticed on social media that Paul Wellens was happy with where the Super League clubs are coming in right now, but I suppose it would be because you've only got like 4 games of rugby or whatever to get to a final, instead of 6 or 7 games of rugby to get to a final.
Well, look how much interest there was in the Wakefield v Siddle game.
Yeah.
Wakefield were always going to win that game. And I know Wakefield are a Championship team now, but, not so long ago, they were a Super League team. I think there's more interest there. And look, Super League teams, they ain't going to put out their full strength side, have they? If they're playing a grassroots or a Championship team. But even the Batley Castleford game didn't draw a massive crowd.
No.
Halifax v Catalan didn't draw a massive crowd. I know Catalan are never going to bring any fans, but I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I just wanted to throw it out there, as the magic being lost.
Yeah, and talking about the magic, we did kind of dig up a clip from an old school. Do you remember this final, Carl?
Oh, mate, of course I do. I know exactly what clip you're going to say. So for me, when BBC was at its best, is when Ray French was commentating. He got a bit of stick, didn't he? Let's face it. But his voice is almost like the voice of the Challenge Cup, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's iconic.
It's iconic. It's what it's what everybody remembers. Play a quick clip.
Bring in our full commentary team. Joe Lydon and Steve Sims are alongside Ray French.
They say the sequel never equals the original, but somehow I feel this repeat final could be even better than last year. The two leading teams in Rugby League, the Bulls unbeaten in number 1 position, St Helens loses only once in number 2 position, and Sean McRae a return to Wembley. Bobby Goulding, 3 winners' medals. Pete Prescott, Danny Arnold and Andy Hay brought in this morning for the injured Alan Hunts, Paul Newlop, Tomlinson, Paul Medley, another of the substitutes now used so widely who come off the bench with dramatic impact. Steve McNamara, cup-tied last year, Carl Hammond, the loose forward in opposition. Brian McDermott, complete with new haircuts. Bradford, St Helens. Rugby League couldn't have planned it better, Steve.
Oh, it's a fantastic day. The crowd's electric, and both teams are ready for this one. A replay of last year.
certainly is a replay of last year, but history counts for nothing on Cup final day. Doesn't matter how many times you've won or been beaten, it can be different. St Helens just driving in, using the forwards. Chris Joyce, the vice-captain.
Yeah, I mean, when I think back to being a boy, that, you know, watching rugby on the telly, you know, or even like later, that was 1997. You know, so I bloody hell, I've been in the Marines 2 years by that time. 3 years. No, fucking, I don't know, I can't remember. Anyway, you know, that was just rugby league. You know what I mean? And sometimes I struggle now with like Brian Carney on Sky Sports. It's just not the same. But yeah, definitely ridiculous scenes, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Just stadium was just packed out. Fucking brilliant atmosphere.
Yeah, some of my fondest memories of rugby league were those finals. 96, 97 final. As a Bulls fan, I absolutely loved them. Lost both of them. Bradford never won in that amber kit. Never won a final in that amber kit. They kept rolling it out, and we never won.
Do you know what? Just when I was doing like a little bit digging around for Ray French, this will make you laugh. So I found a clip where Ray French he didn't quite say forward and he didn't quite say hooker, and you end up saying like, there he goes, the fucker. It was looking brilliant. Right, Adam, what's Adam got to say?
It was class though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It cost pro clubs too much to take part in the early rounds due to player contracts, bonus payments, etc. I mean, you know, we money's
we just waffle. Two thoughts of two guys in the back room office, isn't it? But yeah, it's probably true, I suppose, when you start looking at the actual nuts and bolts of it.
Okay, so from the Challenge Cup to another prestigious tournament. This time,
no, you absolutely cocked that link up, son.
Yeah. All right, staying with the Challenge Cup.
Tackle 3. I've just thought we'd do a roundup of the Challenge Cup results then, Craig. So if you knock on to the next slide, mate. Here are the results from this week's round of the Challenge Cup. Massive one, Hull KR against Salford.
Yeah.
40 points to 0. I didn't see that coming at all.
Do you know what? I remember a couple of weeks ago, we looked at some of the Challenge Cup games and we said, you know, there's no massive scores. There's no one getting absolutely blasted till it comes to Super League. And all of a sudden there's some freaking huge scores. Now, you know, is it just the fact that people, like some clubs, are just looking at this going, well, we don't stand a chance. Fuck it. Well, and then other clubs are going, we stand every chance. Go for it. And the difference is a 40 points to 0 game. You know what I mean?
The interesting one was Sheffield and Wigan. So I think at half time it was 18 all.
they shit the pants, didn't they?
I heard someone sort of saying, is the Challenge Cup upset going to be back on? So, you know, that was two different teams playing each other. So I still stand by what I say. I'd like to see Super League teams come in a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Hull as well. Ever performing Hull, 50 points again for the second week running.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I thought Giants would win. I thought they'd win comfortably. I didn't see that. But
no, we'll have to dig into them in our predictions round, mate, on a bit later on.
Yeah, definitely. Just a comment here. So Chris saying Wigan versus Sheffield was my first final at Wembley. Nobody gave Sheffield a chance, and Wigan won everything, but Sheffield had the self-belief to win. Yeah. Quality.
John Keir built a career on that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Giant killing in the Challenge Cup. What a legend he was for that. Awesome, mate. And then on to the women's results. So the standout one for us there, Craig.
Yeah. Without
doubt, Cardiff Demons, 58 points to 0 against Salford Red Devils. And if ever they were making a statement for wanting to be in Super League, there you've got it. They're 2-1-2 in the Challenge Cup now. I think Wigan's their next fixture.
Yeah.
Interestingly, the Wigan result. Where's the Wigan result? 20 points to 18 against Barrow. Also, Cardiff put a right number on Barrow the week before.
Yeah.
So
it's all looking good, isn't it?
Yeah. To see how those teams get on is great. And another talking point, I suppose, it's a bit of a sour one, but we need to mention it. Bradford Bulls were unable to field a team against St Helens in the Challenge Cup. So they got the sort of mandatory 48-0 win. Not a good look for the sport, that.
No, and you kind of put it down to player injuries, player suspensions, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And,
people working, obviously they're not
but I just,
professional athletes.
Yeah, but I get that. But surely there's enough depth at a club of that size to be able to field a team. You know what I mean?
You would have thought so. Now maybe a 48-0 loss to St Helens is better than if they'd have fielded a team and had 60, 70 put on them.
Yeah,
maybe that's what they were thinking. But not a good look. Not when we're trying to really promote the women's game and give it an equal footing to the men's. But yeah, so we'll move on.
Yeah, so from one cup to another prestigious tournament, the Midlands Nines.
Yeah, so we're really proud to announce that the First Forces side that have entered the tournament is the RAF, and they've entered in the women's tournament, Craig.
Yeah, it's probably worth just mentioning that we've picked up in the last few weeks a load of new viewers and subscribers and all that kind of stuff. So you may not be aware of the Midlands Nines. So the Midlands Nines is a tournament that the Rugby League Outsiders have put on. We've kind of set it up with the aim of kind of bringing a lot of teams together and growing Rugby League within the Midlands. Okay, a couple of people have tried it in the past. It's never really taken off, but we think this is a hotbed, of talent. And if we can attract some of that to Rugby League, then the game's going to win. The interesting thing for me as well is, depending on the history books you read and all that kind of stuff, the game, like rugby, was invented literally 10 miles,
down the road
from this. It just seems like it's kind of coming back. So, anyway, so we put this Rugby League tournament and music festival on. If you're around Coventry, or even further afield, we have got some accommodation options and all that kind of stuff. You want to either get involved in rugby, watch a bit of rugby league, and then join us for, got 3 really good acts that play.
Yeah, so I can confirm the 3 acts now. So 6 o'clock, we're going to have live a band called the Stiffmeisters, who play sort of Green Day, pop punk, Good Charlotte, Blink 182, all that sort of stuff you remember from the American Pie films and that sort of era. Really good band. I've sort of seen them in Wolverhampton. Can't wait for them. The amazing Alexander Norris, local act from Coventry, who's a bit of a cult hero from what I'm hearing. I'm learning more and more about him. So I think he'll bring a decent crowd there. He's going to be on at 7:30. And then the Mardy Bums Arctic Monkeys tribute band are going to be on around 9 o'clock, 8:45, just as sun goes down. Full light show, hour and a half set. Party's going to go off. Can't wait for it.
Yeah, we've just got a comment here from Jamie Jones. He's saying, we've been on the end of a tanking off Cardiff. They definitely could compete further up the pyramid. They are great people too. So thanks for your comment, Jamie, as always. Yeah, we've really got an eye on Cardiff. We spoke to them recently. So yeah.
I thought you was about to go into you said we've really got an eye on, and I thought you was going to go with Bloodshot sponsorship logo. Then you missed an opportunity.
No, nothing that good.
Right, yes. I'm also really pleased to announce that Bloodshot Sports, really up-and-coming company, create fantastic gum shields, have come on as one of the sponsors of the Midlands Nines, and we did catch up with their owner, didn't we, last week, Craig?
Yeah.
Right, hi Alex, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, thanks. How you doing?
First of all, thank you for sponsoring the Midlands Nines. I really think your brand aligns perfectly with ours, to be honest with you. So you produce mouth guards with crazy designs, absolutely excellent designs.
It's all started about 18 months ago. And I just had this, like, a creative urge to try and, create something. I love sports. I'm into lots of different sports. Could never play rugby, too small and weak for rugby, but always appreciated it. Done other sports. I've worn plenty of mouth guards in my time, and also what struck me is that they're all pretty boring. Even the big brands are pretty boring. And I've always really loved like skateboard type brands, like Santa Cruz, some of those types of brands. Those have got very artwork driven, because I like art. I'm a relatively arty person, I guess. And I kind of really appreciated those designs. And I saw, you know, the opportunity to create something that I myself would like, you know, that I wanted to wear, that I could get excited about. And what I wanted to do is create something, you know, that makes people feel good. Because if you feel good, if you look good and you feel good, then you're going to perform at your best.
That's the old NFL motto, isn't it? That
look
good, feel good, play good.
Yeah, I think it's true. And also, you know, I wanted to create something that made people stand out as well. I don't want to do something actually, you know, I never wanted to create something with Bloodshot that was for everybody, that was for the masses. I wanted to be for people that actually wanted to be a bit different. And I think what you said about our brands aligning, you know, with, I think that's exactly it. You know, it's quite quirky. You're not trying to appeal to the masses. You're trying to sort of stay true to kind of what you like and what you enjoy. That's kind of how it all came about.
So Alex there from Blood Sports. We did. There is a full sort of.
Right, hi Alex, how you doing, mate?
Stop what you're doing. There is a fully extended kind of interview there where we talk a lot about like mouth guards, you know, protection, that kind of stuff, and a little bit about the company itself. So you'll be able to find that on our YouTube after this.
Yeah, but these gum shields, mate, are absolutely awesome.
You can imagine like getting
Look, right, Bobby Dazzler wearing that.
Yeah, is that the shark's teeth one?
It's the razor blade teeth one. That. Yeah.
As you do. I think I'm in school with him, but. Yeah, so imagine getting it like packed down, and then someone just smiles at you, and you've got like razor blade teeth. Like,
stand out from the crowd, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so moving on from there. So we talk a little bit about. We recently went to a high performance coaching seminar, Carl.
Yes.
We just thought we'd share some of our biggest takeaways from that.
We're very fortunate. So we went to a high performance seminar at Lillishall. It was all aimed around coaching, wasn't it, Craig? There was some top psychologist, Ed Clancy, triple gold medalist, Olympian was there, cyclist. The chap from
Phil Jones
from Brother. I'm trying to think what I took away from it, other than what I walked out there. I just felt inspired to do something.
Yeah,
and a little bit kind of was like, what have I done with my life compared to all these people that I've just spoken to? What was your biggest takeaway from it?
Well, I'll come on to that in a minute, but I tell you what when we talk about like coaching, we got into loads of little conversations, didn't we? With different people, and you know, people have coached like the pinnacle of their sport, whether it's cycling, boxing, and all sorts of different
stuff.
Netball
and stuff.
And you know, it was very different. Like what they talk about now in regards to coaching. Like what people think is coaching sometimes actually is directing. You do this. I'm telling you that. You know, and we've seen coaches like that, haven't we? You know what I mean? Everyone is probably on this video now is experienced coaches like that. But coaching is very different. Coaching is very much about working with a person. And I was really keen to go to this seminar because I think, you know, in order to, what good coaches do is develop people. And if we want this game to grow, we've got to develop in players which are also people. One of the biggest takeaways for me, I'm just going to bring a slide up and just kind of talk it through, this was shared by Phil Jones. So he started as like an apprentice salesman with Brother, you know, the company that do the fax machines, the printers and all that.
Worth mentioning as well, when he started his speech, he went through a bit of his past, didn't he? He failed his GCSEs.
Twice.
He failed his O-levels. And the guy, because he's gone on to just achieve fantastic stuff, hasn't he?
Yeah, so he's the MD of Brother now, which, you know, one of the biggest companies in the UK, but also an amazing
Japan.
Place, you know, to kind of work for. And he shared this kind of his formula for success. And I just thought it'd be worth kind of picking it apart a little bit and sharing it with the coaches out there, or the aspiring coaches, in regards to their teams and their players. And he sort of said, look, success equals, first of all, strategy and execution. That's the thing that most people think about, is like, we have a strategy, this is how we play, and this is how we do it, you know, so try and do the basics well and all this kind of stuff. And that's the first part of the formula. But then he went on to talk about like the effect that culture has on it. And what he said was, you know, strategy and execution times by culture
Cubed, yeah.
You know, so like 3 times. So whatever the culture is, we're going to talk about this a little bit later on with regards to Hull FC, you know, and their culture and what the state that they're in right now. But, you know, and it just goes to show how important it is to have a positive culture. He did actually share a formula for developing culture as well. If you want us to go into that, then perhaps we could, let us know in the comments and stuff. But it was really interesting. And then all of that was obviously divided by distraction, dysfunction, and disalignment. You know, and when you kind of look at it like that and you start to, you know, you create them little flag posts in your mind of those things to look out for. You know, what are the distractions for this team? You know, what's distracting them away from, you know, it could be a little bit of upset. There's been a little fallout. The club's, you know, messing you about. The strip's not freaking sorted out. Whatever, you know, what are the distractions? Dysfunctions is sometimes you can have a bad apple. And sometimes the bad apple can be in the coaching. You know, we've just done an amazing podcast with the lads from Rugby Rebels, and they were talking about a previous sort of board member of an old club and the detriment that he had to the club. You know, definitely a little bit of dysfunction and also some disalignment, you know, where everyone's working hard, but, you know, you're in a rowing boat, but everyone's rowing in the wrong or the different direction. So you're not really making progress. I think, so that's what I wanted to share.
Yeah, I think we know when he talked about dysfunction, I thought, you know, what's quite interesting, but this isn't really coaching, but it's from a business point of view, is that he said he had what he called his happy fund.
Yeah.
And that was there to, you know, if you have got dysfunctional employees that are dragging other people down or into the wrong direction, he had this like what we call happy fund, didn't he, to almost pay people off, you know.
Yeah, just to move them on, make them redundant.
Yeah, and he put it, the very way he put it was you got to be very personal with people. So if me and you was having a conversation, it was like, right, Craig, I can clearly see that you're not happy within this organisation. And I thought it was a really interesting way that he put it, rather than just going, you know, out the door sort of thing. He put it onto the person. You know, why aren't you happy in this company? And I think he spends a lot of time in weeding out those bad apples, and that really helps his culture within his organisation. And I suppose you can put that into any business or sports team, can't you?
Well, yeah, and you should, because, you know, if culture's like the power of 3, you know what I mean, a factor of 3, then it's 100% something that you should be looking at, you know. So yeah, anyway, really interesting. Really want to share with that. If you've got any benefit from it, then let us know, and maybe we can share a bit more about it. But
I've got to just put in the final quote, which it was probably even the main quote of the day, and it wasn't something we probably there to take away, and it was Ed Clancy, who's the triple gold medalist, wasn't he? First of all, that his life, absolutely dedicated his life to his sport, and what some of these athletes go through is unbelievable. But he finished his talk, didn't he? And he
got asked, "What would you put on your gravestone?"
That was it, yeah. And he went,
"Oh well, I don't know."
Yeah, and then he just went, "Just fucking go for it," didn't he? And it just stuck with me. Like, and all week I've been thinking, am I going to do that? Am I going to spend that money on that? And then I think sometimes, you just got to fucking go for it, haven't you?
Yeah. And actually, it was a thread that came up in our podcast with the Rugby Rebels. You know, they were a stage where they're not really fielding a team, and they're like, do you know what? If we cancel this game again, we've got no trust, no real believers in the team. We've got to run it, even though we haven't got enough players. And they made it work, you know. And their thread was, you've just got to back yourself and go for it sometimes. So big message there.
And that episode will air in 2 weeks' time. So it's a really worthwhile episode. Really enjoyed having the lads on recording with us tonight. So yeah, can't wait for that one to come out. I think people will take a lot from it. And any new clubs or aspiring teams, get on that and watch it.
Okay, moving on. Carl, I just need you to kind of fill in a little bit. So the Williams Weekly, I'm going to pause this and then I'll bring up the penalty stuff and you can kind of chat through that. So Hull FC obviously in the right state right now. You know, they're losing games left, right and centre and, you know, having a terrible terrible time. And I just wonder, like, what has a club got to do to turn that downward spiral round? You know, what are the steps that they've got to go through? Where does it start? I put club because maybe an option is getting rid of the coach, you know, changing the backroom staff and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, just a bit of context around that, Carl, is just obviously the penalty count and all that from the different clubs in the Super League right now. Yeah,
so Hull FC, look, they're having a torrid season, aren't they? These are a number of sort of facts that sort of stood out to me this week. The penalty count in the league this year. So obviously Hull FC, bottom end of the table, they're not winning. They're conceding every week. But one table they are top of is penalties given away. They are 43 penalties they've given away this year. And then another table the top of is the number of cards that they've received. So is it four yellow?
Four red, 3 yellow. No, sorry, yeah.
Other way around, 4 yellow cards and 3 red cards. So does discipline pay a direct correlation with where they're sitting in the league table, Craig?
Do you know what? I mean, yeah, it must do. It must do, looking at this. However, when I looked at this and I thought, right, what are the patterns? You know what I mean? What else can I take away from this table? And you start to look at different teams. You know, you've got like Wigan, 4th in the penalty count. If penalties cost you games, why are they up there towards the top of the league? Same with Saints.
So I suppose what you would say is, if you're a mid-table team,
then it does count.
Then it does count, yeah. But if you're, you know, if you are a top-end team and you are so much better than a lot of teams, then you do have that bit of leeway. But certainly as a mid-table team, which you would think Hull should be looking at the start of the season, you would have said they're a mid-table team.
Yeah, well, I mean,
because they've got their discipline so wrong, it's costing them dearly.
You can, if you flip across then to the cards, there is a correlation, isn't there? Because if you've got like 1 yellow, 2 yellows, you know, up to like the 3 yellows, then you're down the bottom end of the table. You know, sorry, you know, no, even that doesn't work, does it? Because you've got Wigan there, centre, you've got Catalan, Saints 8th, so same again, middle of the table.
Yeah, but all those teams that are the top end of the card table, you can find an example of a game they've lost because they've conceded too many yellow cards or red cards, and that's 100% true with Hull FC.
But I mean, one thing you can't get away from is the fact that, like, you know, 3 reds, like you just can't be expected to win games or even compete with a player less on the pitch.
Oh no, there's 3 losses straight away, isn't there? In a division where the teams are so good and they are so close. Yeah, one playing with a man down for however long, it's massively going to cost you.
Okay, so that's kind of the topic now. Like, you know, I'm just really curious as to what people think. Like, how do we've got Hull here as the vehicle, but how does a club go around, like, first of all, stopping this downward spiral? Because whether it's a cultural thing or whatever, but discipline is off. They're brought in their big signings, and it's not worked. They've spent so much time off the pitch. You know, they're in the habit of losing.
Better players make better teams, though, don't they? And maybe he hasn't spent well. Well, I don't think he has. Yeah, I don't think that whole recruitment has been great. And the players that he has brought in have really let him down. They're the players that are sitting on the sidelines with the red and yellow cards a lot of the time. So, yeah, poor recruitment, poor team. It's hurting them.
But does that like that cultural thing or having your back against the wall, does that promote more penalties? Does it promote more cards because you become frustrated? You know what I mean? Is that something to sort out? You know, I need to get the players' heads right, and, you know,
do you send in a sports psychologist to turn things around? That could be, you know, we learned about sports psychologists the other day.
Or do you go to the head of the snake and get rid of the head coach? You know.
Yeah. Ooh. The thing is, Tony Smith has achieved some great things, hasn't he? With lots of clubs. So you can't say he's a poor coach, because he's not. He's a top coach. He's coached top Super League clubs. He's had great results with other teams. But I don't know what the answer is. I just know that Hull are just getting worse. and they've been getting progressively worse since the start of the season. So the board's probably going to have to come in and make some change somewhere. They've either got to spend some money and bring in better players, or they've got to make a change at the top.
Do you think they'll be thinking like that season's done?
You would have hoped not. After what are we in 5 or 6 rounds? 5 rounds of Super League and a Challenge Cup. You would like to think not.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say. I know. Kind of Leeds had a terrible start to the start of the season last year, and they went on. They kind of started competing towards the end. Warrington had a great start and then started losing it towards the end. And I'm just wondering. I know it's a long season, but fuck it, it's a long season when you're losing too. You compare it to like London, for example, and we all expect London to not do particularly well this year. But I'd rather watch London than Hull right now. You know what I mean? I think what London are showing at times is really industrious. You know what I mean? They've got some flair, and that's missing from Hull. So
talking about cultures,
yeah,
one team that have they changed the culture? I don't know. One team that does appear to have changed things, Warrington Wolves.
Yeah,
they had a great team the year before. They've had a great team for many years to come, but there was something rotten, wasn't there, at Warrington last year? And everybody always said about Sam, didn't they? He might not be the best coach, but he's a leader of men. And it seems that they've got a positive culture at Wire at the minute, and it seems to be paying off on the field. So positive move by the board, I think.
Yeah,
early signs are looking good for Wire.
Yeah, took a risk, didn't they?
Yeah,
he's definitely a talisman, isn't he? You know what I mean? And if he stands up and starts talking in the change rooms and all that kind of stuff, you're going to listen to him. You know what I mean? And I heard one of the commentators recently say that he won't ask any of them players to do anything that he hadn't done. Now he's pretty much done everything in the game. You know, including playing with like shattered jawbones and all that. So basically, he's asking everything of the players that didn't he? We have got a couple of comments here.
Lord.
Crikey. So, Mark, how you doing? Good to hear from you. So, Mark's saying there's come a point where you realise having a new coach or a new set of players every year doesn't work. Hull will be in the Super League next year, guaranteed. So they need to keep Smith and let him see his plan through if he has one. His longer plans normally bear some sort of fruit. Hoods, Leeds, Hillcare. Yeah, I mean, you're right. But when I kind of think about the identity of Hull, I think, big boppers with a couple of players that can move them around the pitch. That's kind of what I think, but it seems to be their primary driver, excuse the pun, is big bodies. You know what I mean? They're always very big players. And I just don't know whether that works. You look at like Bevan French, Jai Field, you know what I mean? Like slight players, but so quick. You just dance around people. So
I'm going to throw one back to Mark here, who is a Widnes fan. Mark, what do you think the Widnes staff need to change at Widnes to improve the culture there? Because that's a club that seems to be on a bit of a downward spiral as well. I mean, they're doing all right this year, but it'll be interesting to hear his thoughts on the last couple of years being a Widnes fan.
Jamie's saying FC Big Boppers got caught bopping, played catch up thereafter. Yeah, this is it. This is what I'm saying. So they started off. There was all this, hype about, Franklin Pele, SASA and all that, and, coming in and how they were going to smash the league up and, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, they walked.
Yeah.
Within the first game. They've never recovered. They've never recovered from that. And when they did get Pele back, he got sent off again, didn't he?
Yeah.
So, they're just kind of really struggling. But it's exactly what I'm kind of thinking there. They're playing this catch up, and I don't know if they're going to catch up. I don't know if they're going to pull it out of the bag.
You know which fixture I can't wait for?
Which?
London v Hull FC.
Yeah. That could be the win.
It's a rivals round as well, isn't it, this week? So they've got Hull KR. So that could be a bad day at the office for them.
Yeah. Right, Carl. So in case any more comments come in, we'll come back to that in a second.
Have a look forward.
However, a little look forward. This was a really, really insightful podcast. This is a smart guy.
Oh, much smarter than me or you, mate.
I think if the RFL, if they were on like some kind of talent, drive.
Yeah.
They've got to speak to this guy, you know. Really, really interesting bloke.
Yeah, so we spoke to Richard Jones on our little. It's almost going to become the London series, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We're sort of filtering these episodes out next few weeks. Richard Jones from Brixton Bulls really spoke passionately about the not just the rugby club, but the work that they do in the community. A lot of disadvantaged, underprivileged kids come to that club, don't they?
Well, he said that club he thinks is the most diverse club in the country because you've got literally, you know, kids from the block. They can't even scrape money together for a pair of boots or anything like that. You know what I mean? Massive gang culture. Just ducking and diving, making their way through life, and then some hedge funders, posh, millionaire sprog who wants for nothing. You know what I mean? And you've got all of that in one team, and it's just an incredible difference. Yeah,
I just took loads away from how much a rugby team means to a community. And he was such a passionate bloke. He's also head of the London Rugby League Foundation that does a load of good work in and around London, just helping grow the game and spreading the word of such a great sport.
So that episode will drop on Thursday mornings. We started putting the audio version out on a Thursday morning. It takes a bit of time to get into iTunes, so drop that Thursday morning. Then on YouTube, it'll go live around 6 o'clock. But it is really, really good. If you don't know much about rugby league in London, listen to it, because you'll soon realise that actually we sort of think it's a new thing. It's not a new thing. It's been around for years and years and years, and there's lots of clubs, lots of players, and there's lots of good, real interesting stories coming through. So check out that episode. What else is coming up, Cal?
As always, on a Wednesday, we have our predictions round, Super League predictions. And Craig, I caught you up last week, mate.
I know, I've given it the big one on the
giving it the big one on social media, and that backfired massively. So we're back level on points. This we put this out just as a bit of fun, and we encourage anybody to get involved and put their predictions in the comments. People seem to enjoy it, so we'll keep putting it out.
Jack Appleby's saying, rumour has it that Quantums have got something up their sleeves this season. So is this something else?
I don't.
Maybe he missed the start of the show, but we did talk about the.
What else have they got up the sleeves? I mean, they're hyping it up. That's all I'll say. I can't wait till the rock up at the Nines. Can't wait to catch up with the guys.
Okay, Mark, we've had a new coach every year since relegation. After we sacked Keir last year, he said we aren't going to get anywhere sacking a coach every year. And he's right. We've made no progress. No matter how big things get, Coleman has to stay as our coach. But I reckon despite some weaknesses in the squad, that we'll do okay with hard work. Off the pitch, we are dreadful. A severe lack of positive creativity at board level that creates apathy. But that could describe most clubs, couldn't it? Do you think? I don't. You could probably take any club and say that statement, and people would be like, "Yeah, I get it." Have we got a problem?
A severe lack of positive creativity at board level that creates. I can't read it. That creates apathy. Some clubs are run well, though, Craig. Not all clubs are run badly.
Who?
Saints are run well.
Yeah,
you'd have to say that. Do you know the club that looks from the outside looking in that looks to be run really well at the minute is Wigan.
Yeah,
Wigan have always been a great team. They've always had a great team. They've always had a great culture. They've always had great players playing for them. But I always thought that they never really tried that hard. Didn't the board? If you look at Wigan now, what they do with the fan park and they have the players come through. I mean, I haven't been, but they have like open training sessions as well. If the fans can go along to the training sessions and talk to Matty Pete after training and stuff like that. The fan park that they have where the players walk through the middle of all the fans, it's like something out of boxing or something. They do a lot right, Wigan. So they've definitely got a lot right at board level, and Chris Radlinski seems to be driving that.
Yeah, I think he's a massive prominent part of that, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's interesting. The two top clubs there.
What do you think of Leeds? Looking at Leeds, how Leeds is run?
Well, how Leeds is run. I think commercially it's run very well.
Oh, yeah,
business,
definitely.
you can't beat it. Fortunately, it's a one club city. However, I think there's some personalities, Etherington, that have fucked players off in the past, not treated people well.
Yeah.
And like, for whatever reason, I don't know. People have different leadership styles and commercial decisions. I can't make commercial decisions about your house, and you can't make them about my house because you're not privy to all the information. But I just think that, you look at how Blake Austin, all that kind of came about. Blake Austin was doing great last year, and next thing he's making snide comments on the telly. Before long, he's gone to Cass. You know what I mean? And it was just a shame. And I don't know what happened there.
Does
it just didn't seem to be right.
He appears to rule the club with an iron fist, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what other clubs we ought to look at? Hull KR seem to be doing a lot right.
Yeah, Hull KR doing right.
Yeah, Hudgels.
Chris Chatton saying met some Brixton Bulls players at the Midlands Nines a few years ago. Great people. So that's good. Good shout out for Brixton Bulls there. Jack Appleby saying Warrington isn't run badly, but there's been too much say from too many voices rather than trusting the coaching team. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, probably agree with that.
Yeah. What have we got here? Mark's saying we just don't think outside the box. Asking fans to pay money to sit on a seat for 80 minutes each week doesn't work anymore. Fans want more for their money. Do you know, he's hit the nail on the head here. He's right. You know what I mean? Days gone by when you couldn't stream, the freaking universe within the touch of a button. All right, people will go and watch. They'll sit in the rain and they'll watch a game of rugby. It's not like that anymore.
No, you've got to work hard as a club. You can't just expect to open the turnstiles and people are going to rock up. It's got to be a family occasion. It's got to be, you got to make a reason for people to go there. I mean, I'm quite picky. I won't just go to any game anymore just because I'm a diehard, fan of whatever team. There's got to be a reason to drag you there, aren't there?
There's got to be, like we was on about this before. It's got to be something that compels people to go. You know what I mean? And sometimes that might be like if you're invested in a team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we did a load of conversations this week about trust and trust in the game. And I think some clubs have lost trust from their fans, from actions with the board. I don't think there's a lot of trust in rugby league in general, and that's why clubs keep stuff from officials keep stuff from supporters keep stuff.
Yeah, you said that, didn't you? Nobody trusts the RFL. People don't trust IMG. People don't trust the board, and that's probably rugby league's biggest bloody problem, isn't it? And it always has been.
Yeah.
And is that because of how rugby league was born?
Yeah,
does it go right that far back?
Yeah, because it was obviously born out of just like, right, fuck it, we'll take our ball and go play somewhere else. Really, So maybe we were doomed from the start. Okay, so anything else coming out, Carl, this week?
No, nothing else. You was expecting me to pull something out of the bag, then, weren't you?
Well, you normally do.
You never know.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up there. Thanks as always for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It's the best way of letting us know that we're on the right track and you're enjoying all the stuff that we're putting out. There's a couple of videos coming out later in the week, so please check in with those. As always, comment and let us know your thoughts. Carl, anything final to say?
Catch the podcast episode on Thursday with Rick Jones from Brixton because it's brilliant. He's a great man. Speaks really well. Much more intelligent than me and Craig.
Oh, one final column. Good work, fellas, from Jamie Jones. Thank you, Jamie. And likewise to you over there in Oxford. So until next week, take care.